Where have we got to on our journey through these intervals? Well, actually, we've got all the way up to an 11th, which is getting to be quite a sizable interval at this point. You'll remember our humble beginnings looking at seconds, thirds, and fourths. Well, now we've got all the way up to an 11th. And another way of thinking of an 11th is as a compound fourth of some kind, which means an octave and a fourth. So if we were to choose B flat here and try and find a note that was an 11th or a compound fourth, compound perfect fourth in this case, away, what we need to do is find a perfect fourth and add an octave on top of that. So the way we find our perfect fourth, of course, was a couple of different ways, but it's very easy if you know the scale of the first note that you're looking at in the interval. Here it's a B flat. If we know the major scale of a B flat, then the fourth degree of that scale will give us an interval of a perfect fourth when played with the root. So say we took the B flat and we went B flat, C, D, E flat, and we played those two together, that will give us our perfect fourth. And of course, to turn this into an 11th or a compound perfect fourth, we take this E flat and move it up an octave up here, and that will give us our compound perfect fourth or our 11th, which sounds like this. Very, very straightforward. Now, where is this interval useful to us? Well, it's unlikely that we would write melodies that have such a big jump in. It would seem very awkward if we were to try and play that on an instrument or sing it with our voice, but the 11th can create an incredibly interesting effect when used as an ingredient in a harmony. Imagine if we were to produce what is called a C11 chord. We've talked about C7th, and actually we've also talked about C9th chords now, but the 11th is just another ingredient going into this mix of notes. So when you see C11, it's really giving you the opportunity to make use of all of these different ingredients. So if we imagine these are scale degrees, the first, the third, the fifth, the seventh, the ninth, and the 11th. So all of those ingredients could come together in some combination. Sometimes we don't use them all. We just pick the more sort of appropriate ones for the context, but we can use any of these, and with those we can create a really interesting harmonic flavour. So in the key of C, these are obviously going to be these notes here, C, E, G. When we see 7, of course, we're normally talking about a dominant 7th chord, so it will be a flattened 7th, not the normal major 7th, which we would get in the scale of C major, but one semitone less, one semitone smaller than that, give us our B flat, and then we move up again, and that will give us a D and an F. So all of those notes played together sound something a bit like this. I hope you'll agree that feels pretty rich and sonorous as a harmony, very different to the very basic triadic harmonies that we've looked at in earlier videos. But imagine this, imagine if we take our 11th and change the name of this chord from a C11 chord to a C sharp 11 chord. And all that means is we're going to take our 11th note, which here is an F, and make it into an F sharp. And when we do that, what we do is we change our compound perfect fourth or our perfect 11th into an augmented 11th or a compound augmented fourth, and that gives us this interval between C and F sharp, which to me adds another mysterious and intriguing flavour to our chord. Have a listen to this.